everybody. Welcome to the All Bullshit Aside podcast with Mr. Bear, 818. This is my co-host, Edie.
Hi, everyone.
So today we're going to talk about mental health, life, traumatic events, divorce, breakups, even, death.
Yes, definitely. Mental health is, huge lately, and we definitely want to go ahead and talk about it with you. So, David, as far as your experience with mental health after your divorce, can you tell us, how you experienced yours?
Where do I start? It was draining. It was like a sudden shock to the nervous system. It was trying to first accept what happened, understand it. And then after that, it was like all the little, the anxiety, the depression, and you feel lost. You feel like, man, my world ended. I was married for 21 years. So it's like, now what? What do I do now? It's like I had to move out, find a place. I went from having a nice house to, renting a room, with a friend. And it was like, now, is this it? Is this where it all ends? And then you try to, it's like you have a hard time because you have to like reinvent yourself. I was like, well, you start thinking, do I ever date again? Will I ever love again? It's like, it's really, really, it's really emotional. It's like the stress is unbelievable,
No, I did look up recently. There's about one out of every five people out there are suffering from mental health, and it's huge. And a lot of people don't talk about it. I think in the last couple of years since the pandemic, a lot of males maybe are talking about a little bit more, and it's just huge that you bring this awareness. So as your experience, maybe with you and your family, did you ever talk about your depression or anxiety with your, maybe with your dad or your son? Do you feel?
I think my mom's the only one that's known or anything ever, that any traumatic event in my life, my mom's always been my go-to. She just has this way of calming me. You know what I mean? And not just because of the divorce, there was stuff that happened in the past. Growing up, events, like as a young, young kid, I had an uncle that tried to sexually abuse me. So I bottled that up till I was maybe in my early 20s. So something happened then that brought that out. My son's mom passing away, that brought that out. So I had to kind of, figure out how to talk to my mom about that. Growing up in a Mexican household, that's very taboo. You don't want to get backlash. You don't want people to think that there's something wrong with you
or look weak.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So you bottle it up. So when I opened up to my mom about that, it was my dad's brother, and he wasn't around no more. And she couldn't handle it. She was very upset. So explaining that to my dad was hard.
So you explained that to your dad?
My mom told my dad when I was in there, I wasn't comfortable being in the same room as my dad because I felt ashamed. I felt like I did something wrong. You know what I mean? So, it was a certain day my mom told my dad I wasn't there. And then when I got home that day, my dad kind of, hey, how come you never told me anything? I'm like, well, that's your brother, So my mentality was, he's not going to believe me. That's his brother, So ever since then, that relationship, was just, it ended, we don't talk to that side of the family anymore. And life goes on, but I still bottle it up. Yeah. I told my dad I didn't want him to tell my other uncles because I felt embarrassed. And I think only one uncle knows about it. And obviously now everybody knows, but it's like, whatever. Now I don't care. It is what it is.
It's probably, I know you talked about it, but who knows who else maybe in your family it also happened to.
That's one thing that my mom did ask. I wonder if it happened to your brother. And I said, I don't think so because I was always left alone with my uncle. So it was like, if anybody was going to get the bad end of it, it was going to be me. My brother, when he was younger, I shared a room with an uncle, and that's when he would try to take advantage. And then eventually I told my mom, I didn't tell my mom, but I told her with my actions, hey, I don't want to be in that room no more. Because I felt like, what happened here? What's going on? That wasn't normal to me. And I remember he tried to shower me gifts and everything, like trying to shut up kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, That passed. He moved on. I didn't see him. I saw him. I still saw him growing up, but I didn't like. I didn't understand it. For some time I thought it was a dream.
Oh, wow.
That really didn't happen.
How old were you?
I was maybe 9
Oh,
9
wow.
or 10.
Wow.
So, growing up, that was my favorite uncle. That was the one I would always want to hang out with. He would always buy me this, take me here, take me there. And then when my son's mom passed away, something in me just kind of, there was an event where there was some kind of sexual abuse with my stepdaughter, that it was her uncle, my son's mom's brother. And that sparked it up. It brought back memories of, wait a minute.
You're probably blocking out a lot.
That happened to me. And it was a whole, nightmare. So and that's when I finally opened up to my mom. And I felt like, I told her, I feel like it's like weighing on me. I can't no more. I can't. So I exploded. I told her, so that's when kind of that happened.
Do you feel during the time that you had it not talked about, you had it, bottled up, did it affect you mentally as far as emotion?
You know what? The way it affected me was I looked at life different. I looked at sex different. It was very uncomfortable, because and then if I saw things in movies, I would like, oh shit, like that kind of reminds me of something, you know what I mean? So it did bring back memories of it, and I would still try to block it off, block it, until I finally opened up, and then he was not, he wasn't around us or my kids or anything, but it did cause a lot of drama with the family because it stopped us, like the routine stopped.
Yeah.
Hey, all the family get-togethers, all the barbecues and this and that stopped. And the family was like, why? What's going on? And my mom didn't want to say nothing, out of respect for me, I guess. So now when I did the video of talking about all the traumatic events in my life, a lot of friends and family were like, what?
Yeah.
My mom especially,
Was your mom upset that you brought it out?
Oh no, my mom was like, she wanted to kill this guy. My mom's like mama bear. She was like the one right away to my dad. I think he was just disappointed and he didn't know how to react to it. He didn't know because when my grandfather died, I believe, my dad had to go to Mexico and he had to see him. And I felt bad. I said, you want me to go with you? And he's like, no. And, my dad's not a violent man, but I'm sure that, when you touch his kids, there's that side of, as a parent, I can relate.
Right.
I know that if anybody tried to hurt my kids, I'm, yeah. So that was the last time my dad went up there and didn't see my uncle, and anything I've ever heard of the man has just been through kind of word of mouth from family members. But yeah.
Well, it's definitely a traumatic event. And I'm glad that you got counseling therapy, during, obviously after your divorce, but it also brought up other things. And this was one that.
Well, I actually developed anxiety back then from this. Okay. And I went to see a therapist, not only for that, but, from the passing of my son's mom.
Right.
I was in extreme therapy. I had a I had a therapist, I had a psychiatrist, heavily medicated, not working for a long time because I couldn't function.
And you were married at this time?
At that time, I was a single father already. I was widowed.
Oh, okay. This is before your.
So then I was going, to grieve for the death of my son's mom, and then I brought that back, So this time around, when I got divorced, it just brought back everything.
Oh.
So I'm not new to therapy,
right?
But it does work. But I feel like it only works sometimes for a while. That's my experience with therapy.
So you're not currently still doing therapy?
No, I actually stopped maybe a year after the divorce, year and a half after, and then a year after, and then I went back to therapy when my ex did what she did, and brought me back and all that nonsense. And that's when the trauma hit me, and I had to see a therapist again. And that's when she taught me, about the relationship I was in, the whole narcissistic abuse and everything. And I thought that was weird, being a male.
Right.
A female, did that? Like, really? And now that I read books about it, and I was like, wow, I didn't know it was like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot too. Just different words, being manipulated
Yeah.
and gaslit.
That was a big thing. Yeah. The manipulation.
I'm like, what?
Now I look back, I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, you're like, how
Yes. Yeah.
dumb could you be? But when you're in love,
Yeah. Exactly.
or you think you're in love,
I think you're in love.
right? But anyhow, so after your divorce, you continue to seek counseling.
Yeah. I had a therapist, I had a psychiatrist, and I didn't like the psychiatrist part of it because I felt like it was just, how you feeling? Oh, like this. Here you go. Take this. Okay. Come back a month later. How you feeling? Oh, like this. Here, take this, but stronger now. And then eventually, without his knowledge, I threw away the medication and I just dealt with it. I felt like I need to deal with it because what am I going to do? Just prolong. And I think that's what a lot of people do. I know people that have been in therapy for years because they feel good, they feel comfortable, but they never really heal. Because eventually you have to face this. Eventually you have to go and face this, head on. So
you think like the medication was just kind of putting a Band-Aid on?
That's all it was. That's all it is.
Yeah. And if people need that, we definitely encourage.
You know what? I'm not gonna. I tell people there's nothing wrong with it. Do it. It's not for everybody, but at the end of the day, it's like you have to open up.
Yeah.
You just can't walk around for the rest of your life bottling up all your problems and issues.
Yeah.
So.
I definitely had to get on some antidepressants after my mother had passed away, and it was for a couple of months. And then after, I had to just, thank God I was strong enough to get off the medication, but some people can't. And if they need to, please continue. But yeah, definitely when you get to a point, if you feel like you could do it, definitely. Yeah. We definitely continue to work on yourself and heal. So as far as anything else, anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, suicidal attempts,
all of the above. I found myself after therapy or even in between, kind of just numbing myself. And, of course I had my share of drugs and alcohol, it was like when the weekend came and women. I mean, that could be another form of, an outlet.
It's an outlet, yeah.
But I'm not going to lie to you. It's like, I found myself sometimes like, what am I doing? This is not. First of all, I knew that trying to jump into another relationship was not, as much as I tried, there was always something, my intuition was always telling me, no, what are you doing? Like I felt nothing for these females, nothing. And a lot of it was just chit chat. After a couple of dates, it was like, I'm not feeling this. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not, hey, at least you were honest. Well, here you go. And a lot of, of course, sometimes one night stands, that was doing nothing for me. But I did find myself, not.
Do you think it was kind of filling that void? It was, right? Obviously, it was doing something, but I mean, not long term.
It was like, let's go out, have some drinks. It's fun. And then it was like, a week later.
You weren't ready. Yeah,
I wasn't ready. So, and there was even people that would tell me, you're not ready. Because, I would find myself probably talking about my ex or stuff, just like not even being conscious of it.
You're all, hi, my name's David, and then blah, blah, blah about your wife, ex-wife.
And then they were like, what? And I was like, what? Yeah, you just said this. I go, I did? No, I didn't. Yeah, you did. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely if you're not ready to date, don't heal. Or at least try, some,
Yes, definitely. So, if you want to continue on a part, about maybe suicidal thoughts or.
I found myself one night I'm going to try not to get emotional, but I found myself one night alone at home on a Friday night. And, I picked up some cocaine from a friend. Yeah. From an acquaintance, I guess. Yes, not anymore. Yeah. But yeah, I got some alcohol, I got some cocaine, and I just all night long, just until I felt like I just wanted to not, just going to sleep. And that's it. I started panicking when I knew I had done too much and my heart was about to explode, and I panicked and I rushed myself to the hospital. Wow. Without anybody knowing, I drove myself to Kaiser. I went to the emergency room. I told them what I did. And I felt like I was gonna, I felt like I was gonna just go, and they're like, "Oh my God, if you didn't come in, you would have, you would have gone, you would have been gone." So they had me overnight and IVs and everything, and it's just trying to talk to me about, suicide, and that's when I got the therapist and the psychiatrist, because I felt like I needed something, because what I was feeling, it was like I don't know, like I can't even explain it. And I'm sure some people can relate to it. It was like an anxiety attack with the panic attack all at once. Just constantly thinking about my ex and where, where am I going to do? Where, like, that's all I knew. That's all I knew. I didn't know anything else, and I didn't want to know anything else. That's all I knew. But, as a man, your pride, it just tells you can't go back. I couldn't fight for her no more because she was already with the new man. And it was like sudden.
So this was after she had already moved on.
Yeah, she already moved on. This is when I really, really, when the first time around when I was getting divorced, I accepted it and I was sad. But it's when she did what she did after, when she brought me back.
So when you say she brought you back, she asked you to make you fall in love with her.
Yeah,
again.
it was I was gone out of the house, moved out. We were divorced legally for about a year, and then she started coming around. We started talking more, and then we started dating. She said, make me fall in love again, and I said, okay. So I thought I was doing everything that I should have been doing. She was happy. She seemed happy, but I think at the same time she was just filling a void.
Right.
Because I had people who were telling me,
manipulating you too.
I had people that were telling me, you know what? What's going to happen is she's going to find someone just like her. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, not her. I always put this woman on a pedestal. Mm-hmm. And then, when she brought me back and we were dating, it was like, she went to a concert and overnight it was like, hey, I'm moving on. This isn't going to work. I'm like, whoa, what the hell? I go, did you meet somebody? She said, no. I said, okay. And then, 3 weeks later, I found out she not only met a guy, that, and that night she went to a concert, I still came and spent the weekend with her that weekend. Not only did she meet a guy and just already fell in love right away, and I probably drunken binge or something, who knows, and kissed the guy that night too. Knowing that, she already met a man.
Maybe more, you don't know, yeah.
Knowing that she already met a man and everything, she still willingly went with me for the weekend and was like nothing. And still was telling me that I was the only man in her life. Mm. And I'm like, oh, so me, naive, being manipulated, I fell for it. 2 weeks later, I find out she did meet somebody and she was already dating him. And I'm like, so that kind of caused me some kind of like it was a shock.
Right.
And then I was going through it. Yeah. I was crying. I was like, I couldn't find myself. Nothing made me happy. If I went out to go do something fun, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be in crowds. I didn't know what to do.
Depressed. If your world just ended.
It just ended. And I was like, I couldn't find relief.
Yeah.
So then I kind of got, started doing drugs and started drinking. And when I was doing that, I felt good. I was just numbing myself. And then I would get off and then it was just like there. It was like, hey, remember us? We're back. I was like, shit. There's like no relief. And trying to talk to my friends, my closest friends, they were just fed up. Like my roommate, my best friend, Robert, he one morning just yelled at me, enough. I don't want to hear about it no more. I don't want to hear her name.
That's a good friend.
And I got bothered, but then I said, okay, I get you. So then I had to just kind of deal with it. And then I just started finding outlets, going out, hanging out, doing things, my hobbies. And then slowly, I went through a phase where I didn't want to date nobody. I would just kind of meet people and just go hang out. But then a lot of these women, they wanted something serious right away. And I said, no, I'm not.
They're planning the wedding.
No,
and
I'm like, no. And I felt like, am I leading these people on? Like,
were you telling them, hey, I just got
I'm
going through something?
I just want to hang out. And a lot of these women, I want, we can hang out and see where it goes. And in my mind, I'm thinking, no, I know where it's going to go. It's going to go where I go to the. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want anything else. And if that's cool, if you want something else, then, hey, you know what? Nice meeting you. Yeah. I was always polite and, always wanted to be as truthful as possible. Nice. Just because I needed them to know that, hey, I'm not ready for a relationship. Now, if you want to hang out, cool. If you whatever.
Right. So 50 women later, no, I'm just kidding. Man. I'm just kidding.
44. 44. Just kidding.
That's going to be our next episode about dating. So, yeah. But going back to, feeling that your self-worth is just like just shot.
Yeah, you go through it. You feel like you're worthless. What am I doing here?
Yeah.
And then that's where the suicide thoughts came. And, and I think for me, the number one thing that would pop into my head and would make me not want to even think like that anymore was my son and my daughter. More my son, because I felt like he already lost his mom, and he's starting his life, he's starting off, doing great. And what is this going to do for him? And, also knowing that he was in the military, he had a little bit of PTSD maybe, and he was going through it. I'm sure he, you know what I mean? Like, what is this going to do to him? I know it was going to hurt my daughter, but my son, I felt like he needs one parent to be here. And then slowly just kind of curve it. You start thinking to yourself, like, are you kidding me? Like, you wanted to end your life for some fucking woman that doesn't care about you?
Or a man.
Or a man, yeah. But it's like, what is going on? Like, I feel like I have a purpose here.
You do.
And then obviously, when I started feeling comfortable, I made a video.
Right.
And then here we are.
TikTok world. But if it wasn't for that video, a lot of people you have met wouldn't have been able to relate, or me as well. So going back to your son, I know your son wants to speak his story, speak his truth, and that'll be on an upcoming episode. So I mean, what you went through, it just didn't affect you. It affected your whole family.
It did. It affected my mom. It affected my
son,
my dad, because my dad used to love this woman, and it affected him. My relationship with friends, I lost a lot of friends. It's weird. I never believed this, but in a divorce, you lose friends and family, and it's unfortunate. There's a lot of people that I loved, that I knew for 20 plus years, and now I don't see them no more. But at the same time, one thing I have noticed is people come and go.
Right.
They come and go from your life. And if these people really wanted to be in my life, they will reach out. So, and I get it, it's very, it could be very weird or strange to be hanging around with people in the same circle. You just kind of have to distance yourself, like when I see these people on the street, hey, how you been? How you doing? How's everything? All right, cool. Well, take care. See you. That's it. A lot of these people don't even have my new number no more, because I feel like, what? I'm on to another chapter of my life. And that's, I didn't want to be around people that were constantly talking about my divorce or wanted to know what happened. I got to a point where I didn't even have the energy to say anything no more. I didn't care no more. I'm like, what am I going to tell you? This person changed on me, and regardless of whatever the situation, it's like,
did you feel any time embarrassed?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was the one that was always like, look, I have a nice house, I work and this, and she does well, and we're going on trips. Then I felt like I couldn't be around, for a long time I couldn't be around couples. Like, not that I hated them.
Why are you so happy?
Like, I just couldn't. It made me sad.
Right.
When I would I found myself doing a lot of things by myself. Obviously, like going to the movies by myself, which that I did that during the marriage. Going to have dinner by myself, grabbing food and eating in my car by myself, and then eventually I started enjoying it. I enjoyed my own company.
Right.
It was fine. And then I did the whole healing thing, just not dating, just doing me, the gym, trying to focus on my career. And then I met a couple of people that they came in, they tried to make a little dent, and it's like, okay, no, it's not gonna work. And when I went back into the healing mode, I met the person I'm with now, and that's brought me a lot of happiness all of a sudden.
But it started because you found the happiness in yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people tend to not realize, when you're going through your mental health, you can't even see past the next year or two in your life. But once you start learning that no matter what relationship that other person goes into, if they don't work on themselves,
they're never going to be.
It's never going to be. Yeah. So again, they're going to mirror who they're with. It's going to mirror who they're with, So
one thing I can tell everybody is heal. Get to know yourself. There's nothing wrong with being by yourself. There's nothing wrong with going, taking yourself out to dinner. Like, I took myself.
You can buy your own flowers.
Yeah. I mean, if you're
and
a
your
girl.
drink.
But
and
like,
food.
I took myself on a trip to Vegas by myself.
Right.
To watch a football game, and it was different. I didn't think I had the guts to do it, but I did it. It was fun. Of course, you want to do things with your significant other, but there's nothing wrong with taking a trip. Take a trip, get to know yourself, get to know that that's how I found my worth.
Right.
That's how I found my worth.
Yes.
By just like, I'm not going to tolerate this shit. I'll never, I don't care what relationship I'm in. Even if it hurts, I'm never going to be as bad as I was in that one because I learned a lot from that.
Because you lost yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what the key thing is. Like you've been saying, you put that person on a pedestal. And again, because you definitely felt that was your way to show her how much you loved her.
Yeah.
But it just fell apart during the years. So now you love yourself, and definitely your mental health has improved. And it's exciting to see your
It's
journey.
crazy how you wake up and you see everything now.
Right?
You see, you see,
like, what the heck is going on?
Whoa, what's going on? I could tell you exactly things about this couple or that couple, and like, wow, I've been there. And I have friends that reach out now, and they're like, man, there's days where I just cry. I go, there's nothing wrong with that. I go, how many times I would drive and have my music loud and just scream because it made me feel better.
Cry in the shower.
Yeah, everything. There wasn't nothing. Crying, just
write
need to cry.
Journal,
there's nothing wrong with crying.
Do whatever you need to do, but like you said, and you tell me all the time, it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
It does. Yeah. It takes, it's not the same for everybody. Sometimes it's faster.
Takes longer.
Yeah, but there's no time limit. I tell people, because people will ask me, they'll comment. I'm like, how long did it take you? And so look, whatever time it took me could be different for you. It could be longer for you. It could be shorter for you. It just depends. I mean, I know people that are getting a divorce and they're happy. They're like, oh my God, they have parties.
I'm free.
Well, that tells me that
that
tells me that you're already mentally checked out of your situation, and it's okay. But no matter what, even if you mentally check out, there's still repercussions. You're still going to go through something.
Right.
You just don't walk away from something that you were with, in a situation you were with for so long.
Right.
And it's just,
you never know. There's some people who are heartless, cold-hearted,
and I know that now.
Right? We do. But so David, again, we're glad to be able to share and listen to your story. And is there anything else that you would like to end the episode with?
No, I think we covered much of me. Eventually, we want to get to talk to you and your situation, and have people invite people and share their stories. At the end of the day, my purpose, yes, of doing this was to reach out to men so that they didn't feel like it was so wrong to speak.
Right. Yes.
There's not really, it's not the end of the world. And and another thing, who cares what people think? People are going to criticize you even if you're doing amazing.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm one that's always tried to keep my love life, my life private, and now I don't care. I'm speaking my truth, and it's not just my past relationship; it's my whole life. Like there has to be a purpose why we're here.
Yeah, I feel like nobody can knock me out now or knock me down.
I know. I'm
like,
so
whatever.
excited.
It's like,
and there's so many people reaching out that it's just this is going to be awesome. So thank you guys for being part of this, and we definitely want to be able to share some more stories with you, and hopefully what we tell and what we share will hopefully help you.
Yes, and feel free to reach out. You guys have my email. You can DM me on Instagram and my Facebook if you have it, my TikTok.
We'll be posting.
We'll let you guys know what the next episode will be or when it comes. We'll just keep you guys posted.
Yes, thank you.